How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. We'll give people a few more minutes to kind of jump on here.
Okie dokie.
Uh, this is your first time doing Instagram Live?
Yes.
Nice. It's awesome. How's have you started homeschooling already? Or
Um, yeah, well, we're starting this week.
okay. How's it going so far?
It's interesting. My mom has me doing a lot of tutoring already, so it's kind of a lot of work.
Gotcha. So we'll give people a few more minutes and then we're gonna be on with our Oregon Dyslexia International Student Panel. I got my you are not alone bracelet on for you. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what grade you're in?
Hi, I'm Kimia Mohandasi, and I'm in the eighth grade.
And well, first, my name's Jared. I'm with the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch. Thank you so much for jumping on with us today. And how are you doing with all the stuff that's going on health-wise? You and your family doing okay? Or?
Yeah, we're doing okay.
All right, hanging in there. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Why don't we start? So you started with homeschooling already. Um, this is the first week. How's it going so far?
It's going okay. It's harder for me to learn on like through video instead of like in person. So, gonna be a little bit more of a struggle.
What are some of the challenges with online for you?
Um, they're not like the teachers are not like sitting next to me
Yeah.
and like pointing to what I'm supposed to be doing. And also it glitches a lot, so I miss a lot of what they're saying.
That's got to be a tough environment to be in. I remember like as a student, it was so helpful when I had somebody pointing out exactly kind of where I needed to be on the page and that process. Do you find that's helpful in your tutoring sessions or your individual sessions?
Yeah, it's helpful to have the teachers next to me guiding me.
Um, so talk to me about maybe some of the challenges that you have in the day-to-day classroom or even some of the advice that you might have for students that have dyslexia out there, that maybe some tips that you found helpful.
For right now during home kind of schooling.
Yeah.
Um, so I find that it's helpful to make like a checklist of like when you read an email, just make a checklist of everything so you don't miss anything because no one's there to remind you of what to do. So I made like every day I make like a pretty long checklist and then so I don't miss any assignments.
Oh, that's smart. That's really smart. So you kind of have your task list next to you
Yeah.
and you're going step by step. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So those out there on the call, we're talking to Kimia. She's in the eighth grade. We're talking about dyslexia, maybe some tips that will be helpful as students are doing the online programming. Um, and as we go through, feel free to ask questions. We're here to help answer tonight. What do you use any assisted technology?
Yeah, I do. I use a lot of different apps on my iPad for reading and helping me spell and note taking.
Okay. So is that stuff like Grammarly or you?
Um, I use Grammarly. I use Audible, Overdrive, Read to Go, um, OneNote, Notability. What else? Google Docs.
Google Docs, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I feel
helpful.
like people really like the Google Docs just because it's you're able to track where your work is all the time. Is that
Yeah,
what you're finding to be helpful?
yeah,
Um, so then you had some questions regarding college and what that might look like. Is that something
yeah,
you wanted to talk about?
yeah. Um, so like what was it like going through college? Was it like really hard?
Yeah, so college for me was a challenge. I think one of the things that really helped me with college was being a self advocate and learning that process early. Um, so going through elementary school, middle school, in high school, I had the individual education program, and so I had to learn early how to advocate for myself, like whether I needed note takers and extra time and how that all worked. And so when I was in college, it was really on me to manage all that. I was still able to get extra time and have an individualized room where I could take tests and get note takers for classes. So having that skill set really helped, I think, make college more manageable for me. But I was able to have those same resources that I had uh, in middle school and high school, and and transition that into the college environment. Are you do you have accommodations right now in school?
Yeah, I have a bunch of accommodations to help me succeed.
That's awesome. Any that you've found most helpful?
Extra time on tests and assignments. Um, not grading like my work. Like sometimes teachers would grade work and they would mark down points because I spelled something wrong.
Yeah.
But not having my work not marked, not being marked down, because my spelling helps a lot.
I remember, so in second grade, I would practice spelling with my mom, and um, we'd learn counting basically. So counting the words on each hand. And I remember I had the word prepare and I spelled it pear pre, but because I had all the letters, my second grade teacher would give me credit for the spelling of things. That was like super helpful. Um, so we have a question on the line. Do you get extra time to complete your assignments at home right now?
Yeah. I well, so right now, since I am like I go to public school at the Vancouver School District. Right now, they're not grading any. I don't think they're grading any of our assignments, but you get extra points and stuff. But I always get extra time on my assignments
Okay, that's
and projects and stuff.
now. Talk to me about, does that do you find challenges, because we hear a lot of students get apprehensive about using accommodations. Do you find that as a challenge amongst your peers, or have you figured out that you're just managing yourself and that that's a process that works for you?
Um, yeah. So I don't really care about what other people think. Um, Everyone has opinions, and I don't I don't overthink about what other people say because they don't understand. So I'm me having like I don't know how to explain this. So yeah, I don't let people bring me down because I'm dyslexic. I uh, advocate for myself, and all my teachers think that's amazing that I do that for myself. A lot of kids don't know how to, so I also teach kids on my school to advocate for themselves if they're too shy.
Okay, so I gotta pause you here. Not only are you advocating for yourself and putting yourself in a position to be successful, you're bringing other students along in the process. So you're helping others. You're essentially a game changer in the classroom. That's what's occurring right now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is so impressive. And you're in eighth grade.
Yeah.
So I think we can throw the stigma that age or being dyslexic or those challenges limit someone's ability when you're looking out for the success of other people in a challenging environment that you're already in. So I got to commend you on that. That's awesome. That's a real powerful statement that you've made there. I'm sure a lot of the people online or the parents online wish you are in the classroom with their students so that you could be helping them because I think you're a trendsetter. Um, you know, what do you, a question that we're getting online is what do you enjoy doing? Like what is your passions? What do you like to do when you're at home or other? What are some of the things that you found maybe you're passionate about?
So yeah, I love sports. I love playing outside. Um, I'm really passionate about art. I do a lot of art.
Okay.
Uh, I like the outdoors. Um, most of the every day, I usually either go for a bike ride or play with my siblings outside or something like that.
Okay. So talk to me
I really
about art.
enjoy.
What specifically are you doing in art?
I love painting,
Okay.
so I do a lot of different kind of paintings, uh, on like canvases and stuff. I like what else? Doodling, I guess.
Okay. So getting okay. Do you find that that's where you can kind of hone in on your talents and build some confidence? We talk a lot about helping students find what they're passionate about because that's how they build their self-confidence, which you clearly have. Do you find that art gives you that or sports gives you that?
Yeah.
Just in
Um,
general.
I really enjoy expressing myself with art. I think I also find it like an escape from being dyslexic and having all that pressure put on me in the classroom. I like to just like the other day I spent hours just painting in our office,
Oh,
and it
that's so
was yeah. So right now I'm working on
oh
this piece.
I
I
was gonna
haven't
ask.
done. It's supposed to be for a math project, um, for graphing or something like that.
Oh my God.
So
Can
yeah,
you explain it a little bit? Like take us through it?
yeah. So I haven't finished the painting yet. I haven't done all the layers and stuff,
Yeah.
but like you see, it's not all the way pigmented. But for like after this, I'm gonna paint lines that I placed before I painted that like or um parallel to the y-axis or the x-axis, and like that's just one of my because my tutor, she is really good with giving me activities that involve things that I really like, so I enjoy doing the activities and I learn better when I enjoy doing them.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
she incorporated art into it.
So
Yeah.
do you see the world in like pictures then? Is that how your mind kind of works with math and
Yeah, like during like a I see like when there's math problems, I always picture like when there's fractions, I always picture the pie or the pizza or whatever. Or when I'm listening to books, I always picture everything, or I don't know. I
that's
always kind of make it up in my own world. I don't
and
even know
just
how it happens. It just happens.
we'll keep going with that. That's awesome work. It's cool that you're surrounded by a support system that because we get asked so much how can teachers help us or how can tutors help us or how can our, how, as parents what can we do and I think that's a real big thing, is like finding where the strength is, where a student's passionate about, and building curriculum around that. So whether it's math and allowing you to express it through art, I think that's a powerful tool that can be used by a number of people. Let's see if we have any more questions on the line. You know, Emily brought up the point when we were talking about college, how important it is to connect with advisors and teacher aides. And I think using advocacy skills for that, to, you know, be straightforward with what your challenges are as someone who has dyslexia like myself when I was in college and still do, and what my needs were in connecting with advisors, because that was paramount, I think, in success, especially in the classroom. Are there any other tips that you can offer students online, even when you're going back to school and when you're actually in the physical classroom?
Wait, you glitched out. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so are there any tips that you can offer students that you found helpful when you're actually in the physical classroom?
Yeah, so some tips that I have is I always sit in the front of the classroom. I usually sit next to a kid that is um, really like academically smart. So then after the teacher explains what we're doing, then I'd be like, so is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And they're like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So I always, like, even if there's assigned spots, I usually ask the teacher, hey, can I sit next to this person so they can help me through what we're doing, if because the teachers are usually really busy. So I usually have a few friends that I sit next to in classes to help me with that. Um, I get my notes provided for me because, like in math class especially, I don't take notes. I just sit and listen. Because when I take notes, I'm so focused on getting everything down and spelling it right so I can read it later. I don't hear anything that the teacher's saying. So I usually get notes provided for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Shelby's calling you out on the line, so I got to ask this question. Up until recently, it sounds like you resisted assisted technology. What
Yeah.
what what led to that change and starting to use that in the classroom?
Yeah, so I really had to start embracing technology this year because now I'm a part of this is my first year at a new school, and it's a very techy school. So one thing that's really helpful is my teachers know how to use the apps that I'm supposed to work on. So at my other school, they had no idea what I was supposed to do and how this app worked, but my new school, they already know. Um, so that's really helpful. And since it's a technology based school, a STEM school, um, everyone's already using technology. So I'm not the one that's standing out in class.
So okay, that's a little bit helpful. So being in a technology school, that now kind of being a requirement, definitely starting to use those as resources for yourself. So if you're just joining us, we're talking to Kimia. She's an eighth grader. She is an amazing advocate that Shelby is pointing out. Not only does she advocate for herself, but she has advocated for peers that are also in need, that struggle with dyslexia or perhaps other learning challenges. And she's offering tips. You know, she's offering tips on what is helpful, being in the online environment that we're all in now, whether it be checklists and having a way to break up the curriculum, or whether it's being in the classroom and using the advantages of a note taker or other assisted technology. We talked about Google Docs tonight, as well as a number of other resources. Is there any last minute tips that you have for the audience, or anything that you would like to discuss before we sign off here?